What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Ilia Topuria breaks silence on vacating featherweight belt. Ilia Topuria might have said in an interview that fans may have seen his last fight at 145, but after his coach announced on Submission Radio on Thursday that Ilia is going to be moving up to 155, the champion broke his silence on the matter, clarifying the situation. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. Things kicked off with coach Jorge Clement citing the champion's out of camp weight as a major reason behind his decision to move up. The real thing I think is he hates to cut weight. He does it a lot of times and it's very hard every time we do it. He doesn't want to do this anymore and that's why he wants to go up to the next weight class, because he thinks his normal weight is in that weight class. We decided because he wants to feel better. Sometimes I see Ilia in 85 kilos and he needs to be 66. We do a very big weight cut. Topuria's coach also explained that even though he doesn't think the UFC will give El Matador an immediate shot at the lightweight title, he doesn't see Topuria sticking around for a fight with Alexandre Volkanovski. I don't think he's going to defend the featherweight title. I think he wants to go to lightweight. I don't think they give the opportunity to fight directly for the belt, but he wants to fight with the ranked guys to come for the belt. If Alex fighting in featherweight, I don't think so. From the sounds of things, rather than a fight with Volk, Topuria is looking to fight Charles Oliveira, who coach Jorge Clement thinks El Matador will finish. I love the way Charles Oliveira does this sport. I think he has great jiu-jitsu, he has great striking, but I think Ilia is from another planet. I think they're gonna do a striking match because maybe Oliveira will try to wrestle him and take his back or something, but Ilia is gonna stop him and stand on the feet, and when they cross, he's gonna turn the lights out. Topuria then broke his silence on Thursday in a post on social media, writing, "I will not leave the title vacant. The decision to move up to the next category is entirely mine. I haven't had any conversations with the UFC yet, so everything is still to be decided. Stop celebrating because I'm not going anywhere. I've conquered my division and I will do the same in the next one." Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett will happen? Michael Chandler might still have his sights set on fighting Conor McGregor after his latest loss to Charles Oliveira, but it sounds like the up-and-coming lightweight Paddy the Baddy is already on his radar. In an interview with Lucky Block this week, Chandler gave Pimblett his flowers, saying that he has a lot of respect for the streaking Scouser, and the two have a good relationship, but he's confident that a fight between the two will happen at some point. Paddy versus myself is going to happen at some point, I'm not sure when, but that's definitely a fight that interests me. It's definitely a fight that would be fun for the fans. It would make people feel something. Paddy the Baddy, what he stands for, who he is, myself, what I stand for, who I am, both of our fighting styles. Chandler versus Paddy. It sounds like a fun one, and it will definitely happen. Is it next? I don't know, but it definitely could be. Yeah, that would be absolutely huge. On top of fights with Conor McGregor and Paddy the Baddy, Chandler also spoke about a potential showdown with Colby Covington, saying that if Conor isn't coming back and March's fight night card in London is too soon for him and the Baddy to fight, then maybe it's time for him and Colby to throw down at welterweight, given that Chandler doesn't think there's much of a size difference between the two. Never say never when it comes to a fight with Colby. I've made it very clear. I don't like making 155. I love fights at 170, and to me, Colby is a 155er who doesn't want to cut much weight. He isn't a big guy, and I bet him and I weigh within a couple of pounds of each other when we're at our heaviest. I think that fight happens at some point. Maybe it's me versus Colby. From the sounds of things, Chandler will be keeping a close eye on Saturday's headliner between Colby and Joaquin Buckley. Arman Tsarukyan is training with the guy who knocked out Islam Makhachev. Arman Tsarukyan's pulling out all the stops leading up to his UFC 311 headliner against Islam Makhachev in January. With training camp in full swing, Tsarukyan was seen posing with Adriano Martins, the only man to beat Islam Makhachev after a workout. Back in 2015, Martins became the first and to this day only man to ever beat Islam Makhachev. The fight wound up being Martins' last win in the UFC, and Makhachev of course was able to bounce back by winning 14 straight over the past 9 years. With training camp underway, Makhachev was seen in a new video working on his boxing while hitting the heavy bag. Although Tsarukyan brought in Adriano Martins to help him prepare for the fight, Demetrius Johnson was seen in the gym with Makhachev and Team Khabib, adding another brilliant MMA mind to his camp as he looks to set the UFC's lightweight title defense record. The UFC also unveiled the UFC 311 poster on Thursday, sparking some mixed reactions among fans. While some liked it, others felt like the promotion could have done more. With that in mind, we turn to you, the MMA community. What do you think of the poster? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Kamaru Usman leaks DMs of Ian Garry praising him back in April of 2021. Ian Garry messaged Usman saying, "It's a pleasure to watch what you do in that cage. Nothing but respect."
I'm going to show you something real quick. I want to read you something, Henry. I'm going to read you a DM from Ian Garry, right? He was this kid's a fan of mine. A big fan of mine. Ian Garry, 2021, right? April 27, 2021, Ian Garry. "It's a pleasure to watch you do. It's a pleasure to what you do in that cage. Nothing but respect."
UFC updates. With Saturday's card right around the corner, let's take a look at some UFC fight updates, starting with a fight between UFC newcomer Elijah Smith and Vince Morales, scheduled for the UFC Vegas 102 card in February. The fight will see Morales look to bounce back from a loss to Taylor Lapilus in his UFC debut, while on the flip side, Smith's going to be looking to build on the momentum of a Contender Series win that earned him the contract. The following weekend, Modestas Bukauskas and Rafael Cerqueiro will throw down on the Fight Night card in Seattle, with Bukauskas looking to build on the victory over Marcin Prachnio at UFC 304, and Cerqueiro looking to pick up his first win inside the octagon after a first-round loss to Ibo Aslan back in October. Last but not least in the way of UFC fight updates, Andre Lima and Daniel Barez are set to go to war on the UFC Vegas 104 card in March. Lima's going to be looking to extend a big 3-fight victory streak that he built in 2024, while Barez will be looking to build on a decision win back in September. Joe Rogan praises Alexandre Pantoja's performance at UFC 310. Kai Asakura might have had plenty of hype behind him heading into his UFC debut this past weekend, but Alexandre Pantoja had no trouble dispatching of the former Rizin champion in the second round. The way Joe Rogan sees things, even though the champion is ranked 9th on the pound-for-pound list, Pantoja may very well be the best pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. During a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, the longtime commentator spoke with Bert Soren about Pantoja's win. Alexandre Pantoja, who might be the best pound-for-pound fighter alive. He's the flyweight champion, and he fought this dude Kai Asakura from Japan, who's an assassin, and Pantoja just ate him alive. He got caught with a couple of good shots too, couple of good knees to the body. You know, Kai Asakura is a really good fighter, but the level was just different. Like Pantoja, he strangled him. With a fight between Pantoja and Mighty Mouse out of the question, Davison Figueiredo is wondering whether it's time for him to move back down to 125. In an interview with MMA Fighting, he teased the move. Demetrius Johnson is retired and doesn't want to fight again. If he's looking for someone to fight, why didn't he mention my name? I beat him when I was a flyweight. If the UFC wants to put me against him, I'm open to going down to 125 for this fight. In a surprising turn of events, Henry Cejudo threw his name in the hat when discussing the next flyweight title fight on the latest episode of he and Kamaru Usman's Pound for Pound podcast.
If Pantoja wants to do this fight, I can shake on it, but like as I told you before, Kamaru, it's up to Hunter, man. If Hunter wants to give me the opportunity, I've asked him for that. I've asked him about to go down to 25. I just don't know if these guys are super serious about me actually doing it. But if they believe me and trusted me, we're able to get the UFC PI. And if Pantoja wants to do it, if he wants to do it in Brazil, I would love to make him bend the knee. And I love the dude, and he's the most kindest soul. And I'm glad he's champion. But for that championship bout, Pantoja, you will bend the knee to King Triple C.
With Pantoja and Triple C both interested in the fight, it looks like the ball is now in the UFC's court. Jorge Masvidal versus Leon Edwards in the works? Last we heard from Dana White, the UFC probably wasn't going to be bringing back Tyron Woodley or Jorge Masvidal. However, since then, it sounds like things have changed when it comes to Gamebred. Masvidal signed with Ali Abdelaziz and Dominance MMA, and according to the original BMF, he's targeting a return in April when the UFC heads back to Miami. During an appearance on the OG's podcast, hosted by retired Miami Heat veterans Udonis Haslem and Mike Miller, Masvidal spoke about his return, saying that although he thinks he's going to return on the Miami card, there are some interesting offers on the table, including a rumored fight with Leon Edwards.
I'm gonna fight April Miami is what I'm thinking, you know. The UFC hasn't officially signed off on that. Some interesting offers on the table. I'm just waiting to see who it is. You know, I've heard rumors that they want me to go to England. There's a certain somebody in England over there that already served them up a meal before, and they were like, yo, this dude is hungry, he wants to eat again. Can you do deliveries? I said, I get let me look at my calendar. I think I might be free in March.
Although it's no secret that Edwards is likely to wind up headlining the card, there's been no real word on who he could wind up fighting. While he and Masvidal have beef going all the way back to 2019, Edwards is looking to get back into title contention, while Masvidal has not won a fight since he beat Nate Diaz back at UFC 244. Joe Rogan reacts to Conor McGregor's civil case. Dana White might not have been interested in discussing Conor McGregor's recent civil case, but Joe Rogan had no problem sharing his thoughts on his podcast last week. During episode 2239 of the JRE with Derek from More Plates, More Dates, Rogan discussed the former champ's recent case and his return to action. Rogan didn't mince words, saying that he isn't sure whether McGregor will ever return to the octagon. On top of that, he also referenced the former champ's testimony where he said that him and Nikita Han were both using together on the night of the alleged incident that landed him in court.
I don't know if Conor's ever going to fight again.
What's happening with his, he just got like
the civil suit?
You know, I don't know the real details of that case. I know his version of it and her version of it and what played out in the court. But the reality is that guy's partying, and he's partying real hard. And he talked about it in the court case. You know, he's talking about like that was the whole thing that we're all doing. And we're
Dude, some of his interviews, you can tell he is out of it.
Allegedly.
After being found liable in the civil case, McGregor told his fans on social media that he plans to get back in the gym. However, when Dana White talked about the former champ's future with media members after the UFC 310 card, he was non-committal about McGregor's return, saying that if McGregor fights again, it'll be sometime next year. Dricus du Plessis smashed a cake of Sean Strickland during a recent interview. At the end of the interview, it was revealed that it will be Sean Strickland's birthday a few days after the fight between DDP and Strickland. So as an early birthday present, DDP smashed Strickland's cake by throwing it into a door. Here's the clip.
From the size. Dricus, as jy hom hierso neersit vir jou as jy wil, en as jy wil vir Sean Strickland 'n verjaarsdag ook saamvat. Well, I don't care. What do you think? What do you think?
So.
Hey! Oh! Okay.
Hij lekker pikkie mooier, man.
Okay. Unhappy birthday to you. Unhappy birthday.